Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube, and this is my latest purchase. It is a 2014 Ford F-150 Raptor with the 6.2 liter and 300,000 miles, but it's still working absolutely perfectly. I think this is peak Ford right here when it comes to build quality, when it comes to design. We will never have something this good ever again, and that's why I've had several, but this one obviously the best, because why would you buy a nice low mileage one when you can get one with a bunch of miles and you can have all the fun you want? Not to mention cheap. I bought this truck for only $11,000, which in the truck world, anything that runs and drives and is four-wheel drive is over 10 grand. But this is a Ford Raptor that is running perfectly, well, for now. So what do I mean when I say this is peak Ford pickup truck? And excuse my voice, I'm just getting over something. But automakers used to build trucks to be the most powerful, the most dependable, the most capable trucks on the road. But nowadays, they're going for fuel economy, trying to make them more like cars because that's what people mostly use them for nowadays, not as the trucks as intended. And that's coming at the expense mostly in durability. General Motors peaked in the mid-2000s with their 5.3s and their 6-liter Vortex in their light-duty pickup trucks, but then they introduced cylinder deactivation and some other tricky things with the valves to where they're having big problems. 100 to 150,000 miles, not uncommon to see a big engine teardown on a GM light-duty V8 engine. Now in the heavy-duty pickup trucks, they do still have the 6.6-liter V8 without any of that gobbledygook, but as far as light-duty pickup trucks go, well, that's it for GM. And when it comes to Dodge, well, have they ever? I guess you'd go back to the 1990s with the 5.9-liter V8, a pretty solid engine, but after that, a lot of issues. Now, Ford had its fair share of issues with light-duty pickup trucks. There's the 4.6-liter that was good, but then there's that horrible 5.4-liter, which the older ones in the 90s, they pop out their spark plugs, and then there's the cam phaser years, which is just a total disaster for Ford light-duty pickup trucks. A lot of them getting traded in with a ticking noise that gets worse, and they just need a new engine. The car wizard doesn't even mess with tearing them down anymore. He just tells the customer to get a new engine. He doesn't want to mess with it. But one exception was the 6.2-liter V8 in the F-150s that came out around 2010, and it was supposed to be a heavy-duty pickup truck motor, but they optioned it for the F-150, and it came a few years later in the Raptors. Originally, they had 5.4s. And with that, you didn't get nylon timing chain gear parts or any of that kind of crap to where it would fail so early. There's very few complaints on the internet about the Ford 6.2-liter, and actually there's a thread on the Ford forum with people bragging about how reliable and long-lasting their Ford 6.2s are. There is actually one person bragging over 1 million miles on their 6.2-liter, and that's because they are in the heavy duty as well. A lot of people have given up abandoned diesel engines because of their complexity due to emissions restrictions and all these things to where they really aren't worth owning anymore compared to a gasser. Yes, it is lower MPG, but way, way lower maintenance. And I've done several videos on my 2004 Dodge Ram over there, the million-mile Dodge, but after that, the diesels got more complicated, and it's pretty likely that that will never happen with a modern diesel pickup truck given the insane complexity of them. But going back to the Ford Raptor, so it came out in 2010 with a 5.4-liter, and then they offered the 6.2, which I think is the best since it doesn't have the big problems. And unfortunately, this being the last year of this body style Raptor, they didn't make them for a few years with a new body style Ford, the aluminum body. Didn't have a Raptor for a few years, but when it came back in 2017, gone was the 6.2-liter V8, and its base was the EcoBoost, so a V6 twin turbo under the hood, which had more power. These were 411, the EcoBoost 450, but still a complicated high-strung twin turbo V6 in exchange for a V8, and we're seeing how those EcoBoosts are holding up, which is not very well. But the nice thing about the aluminum trucks is they don't rust. With this one being a lifelong Texas truck, one owner, it doesn't have any rust as well. So this is my third F-150 Raptor in this configuration. The first one was the Border Patrol Raptor, which I discovered after I bought it that it was formerly a Border Patrol vehicle, and then I sort of restored it to become the Hoopty Patrol truck, which I owned that for a little bit and then sold it because it did look kind of ridiculous, and a lot of people didn't like the fact that I was sort of impersonating law enforcement. And actually there was one other person that did a similar thing with his truck, except instead of Hoopty Patrol, he put Booty Patrol on his, and I believe he was cited or arrested for impersonating law enforcement. So I guess a good thing I got rid of that. I think the next owner peeled all the stickers off. The next one I had over 200,000 miles on it, but unfortunately it was very rusty. I bought it on the Car Issues TV show for Motor Trend, and the cab corners of it were very rusted out, and it had been ridden very, very hard, very abused, but still ran and drove just fine. It sold, I think, for $16,000 or $17,000. I'm sure it'll last a long time. It was just ugly and rusty. This one, while it isn't ugly or rusty, there are a few dents on it. The biggest one in the back tailgate, which I could swap out with a different one, but still not too bad. And I do like that it's silver, but the undercarriage certainly is where it's at. Oh, the undercarriage is certainly where it's at. It looks brand new almost, actually pretty ridiculously so for a truck with 300,000 miles, but the Texans, well, they just have it way too easy. Now, the Raptor was developed for a segment nobody even knew they wanted a lot of years ago. Of course, people were lifting trucks and making off-roaders, but nobody had built a factory Baja style truck before, and Ford really knocked it out of the park with this thing. The wide body stretched several inches from the stock Fords. You can see how far it goes out to make room for the 35-inch tires. Long travel suspension in there. You can see the Fox Racing shocks. And this one totally stock other than the front bumper. Another pretty exceptional thing about this truck is inside, it is in very, very nice shape. It does not look like something with 300,000 miles. It's just super impressive. And I do feel like this is the perfect era when it comes to Ford technology, because you still have manual old school gauges, you still do have buttons for everything, but just enough infotainment to where you can plug in your phone and have that USB capability without having an iPad glued everywhere, and of course the failures that will come with that. But one failure it does have is with the exhaust. I'm a Ford. So I'm not sure if you can hear it because it's still warm, but when it's cold we do have a tick on one side, which I sure do hope that's an exhaust leak. It sounds like a Ford exhaust leak, which is a very common thing for the exhaust manifold bolts to crack or break. Not too big of a deal, but inside, still very nice shape and well optioned. The Sony stereo, the sunroof. The Border Patrol truck, well, they were optioned from the factory only for the Border Patrol with absolutely no options, so that was a little weird too. Cloth seats. Then the other one, well, it was just really torn up and kind of gross. So nice to have one that's clean and tidy. Clearly, this one owner took very good care of it, but I imagine it treated him pretty well. The only thing is, buckle my seatbelt, the only thing is 300,000 miles. That is a lot of dead dinosaurs going through the motor. Once again, I don't think these were hard Baja off-road miles. They were just driving down the highway, and they chose an F-150 that gets, well, 11.9 mile per gallon average is what I'm getting right now. But they probably didn't care at all about the fuel economy, since you had 411 horsepower. Just broke the tires loose there. Great power, the perfect amount of power for a truck. And a byproduct of these big tires and the long travel suspension is actually a really nice ride. If you buy sort of a sport truck or an Escalade with 22s, big tires, well, they're working as hard as they can with the Air Ride or the Mag Ride to make up for the very little rubber for shock absorption. This one, well, it's very plush in an old school kind of way with the big tires and the nice shocks to where it soaks up the bumps on the pavement, but obviously it's designed to soak up the bumps or the big old boulders off-road. Great noise and great power, and unlike modern Fords, they don't have to put the engine noise faked through a speaker to give you the experience of acceleration like the EcoBoost engines. Ugh. But I'm not gonna lie to you, this thing, it doesn't feel factory fresh. There's definitely a little bit of slop in the suspension and something in the driveline. 300,000 miles though, it does drive really, really well. I am curious what the Car Wizard's inspection will bring though, because that is way past the distance from the Earth to the Moon this truck has traveled, and though the motor is fine, minus that little noise from the right side, there could be a lot more wrong. So let's head up to the Car Wizard's and see what he finds. Wizard!
Me in my butt. What was it? Hi.
Are you?
There you go. Careful with the lights. Oh, hey, what's going on?
Well, not much. Are you entertaining your help here?
Yeah, I'm taking a little break.
Let's see. Well, I know work does get done eventually here, so your approach to management, it must work. Daniel looks very happy.
Keeps everyone happy and smiling.
And you're Cummins and Ellis swapping things?
I'm gonna Ellis swap this trailer.
Well, I've seen much worse Ellis swaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've got a treat for you.
Looks familiar. I've seen one of those before.
Yeah, I can't seem to get away from these Ford Raptors, but this one, it doesn't have the issues of my previous two. So it's a nice normal Raptor, not a Border Patrol one, and it's not all rusted out because it's a lifelong Texas truck, but it has 300,000 miles.
300?
300,000.
Oh my, how, it looks maybe 100.
I know, it is super clean. It definitely has a few things that feel a little loose, but it is in really nice shape. That's why I was happy to buy it for $11,000. And really, I think this is peak Ford right here. It doesn't get any better than this. I think this is as good as Ford is ever going to get when it comes to reliability and the right amount of technology and just the cool factor of it. The 6.2 V8 averaging 11 miles per gallon though.
Does it have any check engine lights or anything on it?
No lights. On startup, it does have a bit of a knock or a noise out the right side, maybe an exhaust leak probably, and then a few clunks in the suspension and stuff. So actually surprisingly good considering 300,000 miles. But I am curious what you'll find. That is a lot.
Well, we'll get it on the lift and take a look, but I want to look under the hood.
Sure.
Just looking to see if I saw any exhaust leaks or anything like you mentioned, but we'll see it a little better up on the lift probably. But these are good engines. They're powerful.
Yes. And obviously a Southern truck, it's not all corroded in here.
It's got some red Texas dirt dust and stuff in there. You can see it on the hoses and everything. Otherwise, I wouldn't say that it looks like it has 300,000 miles under here.
No, sir.
Well, I guess we can get it on the lift.
All right, let's see if it does it for you. I'm a Ford.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
It will do it for 30 seconds on a cold start.
Yep. Definitely hear an exhaust leak.
All right. Well, I know Fords love to break their exhaust studs and that kind of stuff, so.
This one may not be an exception either.
Shift to park.
I'm a Ford. I'm a Ford. I feel like I'm about to shark myself. Oh, you're recording that.
We did just have a delectable lunch. But look at the interior. Speaking of interiors not getting ruined by
It is nice.
things, yeah.
I've seen trucks with half this mileage. The interior is just destroyed in them.
All right, first impressions. Oh, Texas truck.
Texas truck.
Isn't that nice?
Yep.
There's no rust.
No rust. It's got these nice Fox shocks. They're known for the little bushings down here to go bad and make rattling noise. Like doo-doo-doo-doo over bumps. Have you heard any noises or?
A little bit, but.
It might be something to look at. Under the radiator and everything, I don't see anything pouring out of this shield, so pretty dry. Uh-oh.
Huh?
The rear main seal.
Oh.
That's not coming from up top at valve covers or anything. That's specifically right there.
Yeah.
And I see the, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's soot beside the manifold there.
On the header.
Yeah, the exhaust manifold.
So it's probably a broken manifold or bolts or.
Probably studs are broken or blown gasket or something there.
Wonderful. Well, the catalytic converter's got a lot of this Texas orange dirt on it. Interesting. So they had some fun with it.
Transmission's not leaking.
No. It's the front drive shaft.
Feels all right.
Really?
Yeah.
And my suspension's tight, huh?
Let me check. Well, this inner tie rod here walked right here. Need some inner tie rod ends. Probably this side too. Yeah. It's just from turning these big giant tires.
But not extreme.
Nothing major, no. I'm not seeing anything major yet. Transfer case is not leaking.
Looks really nice too.
Yeah. There's a U-joint loose right there.
It's not supposed to jiggle that much?
No, not that much. It jiggles a little bit, twisting it.
Ah.
Check back here. This one's okay. The shocks aren't blown out.
No, they've obviously been replaced at least once.
Yeah. Well, I can tell your e-brake isn't working.
Oh, I was gonna say that's looking me right in the face, whatever this is. Yeah, they don't really need that.
No.
But look at this frame. That's ridiculous.
I keep saying 100,000 miles. That's what this truck looks like it has. Maybe 100,000 miles.
Southern miles, but
Yeah.
no, it's 300,000 miles. So I think I've got the right truck.
I think you did.
How about the manifold thing? Is that going to be crazy to do?
It might be kind of expensive with labor, but it's not a hard job. It's just, as you can see, when it was in there, it's kind of tight to get in there.
Okay. Well, you've worked on a few Fords before. Do you need to calculate in the office, or are you able to just spitball from memory?
I think we could solve everything for under $2,000 on this.
Wow.
Easily.
I guess it just proves my theory on these trucks just being so darn good. I guess there's no hurry. There's nothing urgent that needs anything right away, but
No.
I'll get it up to you for repairs here soon.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you for watching.